All right, so this is week 2, day 2, and we are looking at our science for right now. This is the adaptive athletes, the section that we were talking about when it came to bionics. And this is pretty much a way that athletes who might not necessarily use bionics but might have an amputee situation or deaf, or they talk about that in this they talked about it in the article from yesterday, the 5 different things that qualify them for the Paralympics. So we'll go ahead and start reading. There are 10 categories covering a range of physical, visual, and intellectual impairments. Within each category, athletes are classified by relative ability to compete in their sport of choice. I also took the time to find some videos of the Paralympics and put them on our classroom website for you to watch. Over the years, a number of Paralympic athletes have distinguished themselves. Trisha Zorn, a blind American swimmer, is the most decorated Paralympian in history. From 1980 to 2004, she has won 55 medals, 41 of them gold. The most decorated athlete in the Winter Games is polio survivor Rina, not even sure how to say that. We're going to call him Regan because he's from Norway and I don't speak Norwegian, so... In cross-country races, relays, the biathlon, and ice sledge racing from 1988 to 2002, she won 27 medals and 22 of them were gold. Wow. The 2012 Summer Olympics and Paralympics in London. The 2012 London Paralympic Games were a huge event with more than 4,000 athletes from at least 150 countries participating. Athletes competed in 503 events in 21 sports. Bringing the Olympics and the Paralympics to London was quite a competition itself. In a lengthy binding process, 9 rival cities were reduced to 5 finalists: London, Madrid, Moscow, New York, and Paris. For a while, it looked as though Paris was going to be the front runner with London in second place. But as the evaluations continued, London's chances of getting the games gradually improved. In July of 2005, the IOC conducted 4 ballots to decide the winners. The first 3 ballots eliminated Moscow, Madrid, and New York, leaving London and Paris. In the final ballot, London received 54 votes, with Paris getting 50. The games were going to London. This was the 3rd Olympics for London, but the first time hosting the Paralympics. Londoners celebrated when they learned of their city's victory, but their jubilation subsided by 2007 when they learned just how expensive it was to host the games. The estimated total cost of constructing the venues and conducting the games was 9.3 billion British pounds. Holy smokes. Or about 14 billion US dollars. Of that amount, about 6 billion pounds, or $9 billion, was paid by the public as higher taxes. Holy smokes! Wow. The Olympics and Paralympic Games used the same venues in East London. The Games' centerpiece was the new 80,000-seat Olympic Stadium. That is insane. That's a lot of taxes. Jeez. Well, I guess if everybody in the United States gave some, and I don't know, still quite a bit of money. Yikes. The game's centerpiece was the new 80,000-seat Olympic Stadium, located within an area called Olympic Park that was the setting for track and field events. I'm going to write down, I wonder how much that would cost. That's going to be one of my questions for sure. Each person in the United States who pays taxes. Other new facilities in the Olympic Park included the Aquatic Center, a basketball arena, and a water polo arena. The 2.5 square kilometer Olympic Park was once an industrial area with contaminated soil that was transformed into a green setting for many of the Olympic and Paralympic events. The creation of the Olympic Park was part of a program to rejuvenate a shabby, neglected section of East London. Oh, that kind of makes sense. Athletes in the London Paralympic Games, the events. Competed in 503 events in 21 sports. That guy's pedaling with his hands, so the pedals are right there. Archery, athletics. Oh, in the video that I posted on our classroom website, it shows how the guy, he has no arms and shoots, he's an archer, and he uses his feet and his mouth. Bocce, cycling, road cycling, track cycling, equestrian, soccer 5 on a side, soccer 7 on a side, goalball, judo, powerlifting, rowing, sailing, shooting, swimming, table tennis, setting volleyball, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair rugby, and wheelchair tennis. At the top of their game. So this is the subheading. Many inspiring stories can be told about the athletes who participated in the 2012 Paralympics. Here are 4 of them. By the way, you can look these up on, I looked them up and I'll post some of them on YouTube. I did add some to our classroom website so you guys can access it. Esther Verger of the Netherlands became paralyzed below the waist at age of 8. She was the world's top-ranked wheelchair tennis player from 1999 to 2013, when she retired from competition. Verger was unbeaten for 10 years, during which time she accrued a winning streak of 470 matches. That's insane. Wheelchair racer David Weir is one of Great Britain's leading Paralympic athletes. Born with a disability, he needed metal braces on his legs to walk, but later switched to a wheelchair. Weir soon became involved in wheelchair racing. He competed in the 2004-2008 Paralympics in Athens and Beijing, and won 6 medals, 2 of them gold. At the London Paralympics, Weir took home 4 gold medals and had the honor of carrying his country's flag in the closing ceremony. In 2005, Tom Agar of Great Britain had a spinal injury that left both legs paralyzed. As part of his therapy, Agar, I'm not quite sure, took up competitive rowing in the World Championship events. He won gold medals in 2007, 2009, 2010, and 2011. He also won a gold medal at the 2008 Beijing Paralympics after a disappointing 4th place finish in London. Agar won the World Cup in 2013. Wow. Natalie du Toit of South Africa began swimming competitively at the age of 14. When she was 17, her left leg was amputated at the knee after she was struck by an automobile. She resumed swimming 3 months later and competed at the 2004 Athens and 2008 Beijing Paralympics, winning 11 medals, 10 of them gold. Whoa. Du Toit had the distinction of being the first amputee to compete in the regular Olympics at the Beijing Games. She finished 16th in the women's 16-kilometer race. Du Toit won 1 silver and 3 gold medals at the London Paralympics and is now retired. Wow. I wonder how many, I know Michael Phelps is a big deal, so I wonder how they compare to Michael Phelps, because he gets a lot of coverage in some of these, like that one lady who has the most ever, you don't hear about her very often, or ever. Amy Purdy. Some Paralympians have been disabled for most of their lives. Others, like Tom Agar and Natalie Dutoy, have had to adapt to change in their abilities later in life. One athlete who has to make an especially difficult adjustment is Amy Purdy. Amy began snowboarding when she was 15 years old. When she was 19, she developed flu-like symptoms that were actually signs of an aggressive, deadly infection that spread quickly throughout her body. Amy's organs failed and the circulation to her legs stopped. Doctors had to amputate both of Amy's legs below the knee. Whoa, that would be rough. While recovering, Amy set her mind to making the most of her abilities. Just 7 months after receiving prosthetic legs, Amy began snowboarding again. Holy smokes, that's insane. Wow. More than anything, Amy wanted to excel in her sport. When her prosthetic legs and feet proved difficult to snowboard with, the determined double amputee decided to build her own. Within a year, she was winning medals at major national snowboard competitions. Wow, that is so cool. All right, so now I'm going to take my science journal, and I'm going to write my 5 facts about my science journal, in my science journal. That was my son and his friends. They gave me a picture on Andrew's 21st birthday to remember him by. Sorry. So I'm going to flip this over. So I'm going to write, let me scoot this back up. And I'm going to write adaptive athletes. Week 2, day 2, adaptive athletes. And I am going to underline the title because that's required. And I spelled it correctly because it's on my page over here. So I am looking for 5 facts, questions, or connections. A connection could be like, I am going to say this. I watched the Paralympics videos on, that's an S, you can't tell, on our class site, and the blind runners amazed me. That's my connection. And so I have a capital and I have an end mark. And I have capitalized Paralympics. I probably should fix this capital B that I have here because being the blind runner, blind runners amaze me. And I put an exclamation point. So I get 2 points for this one. Right. The next thing is, oh yeah, it costs billions of dollars to host the Olympics. They charge the taxpayers. As a taxpayer, I'm not going to lie. I obviously figured that, but I don't know what they call it or how they adjust for that. Because they don't do it all the time. It's very rarely they do it. The next thing that I was going to write was about the one person who had... There wasn't a lot on the first page. There was more on the second page. Or was it on the first page where they talked about that girl who had like the most ever? Oh, it's right there. It was on the first page. Her name is Trisha, and I'm going to look her up. Trisha Zorn. That looks like Zom. And I'm going to put swimmer. A blind swimmer. It's funny because I don't really think, I guess it's just like that's what that's what it says. She won 55 medals. Most decorated Paralympiad. Olympian, PIAN, with 55 medals. That's 41 gold. Wow, that's crazy. So for this one, I have capital, I have a period, so I get my 2 points. I have a capital for her name and a period, and then I kind of had an exclamation point over here, so it's just still 2 points. And now my next one was on the next page, and it was Amy Purdy. Amy got sick at 19. And I should put years. And lost both legs. She made her own legs when she didn't like the ones they were making her. When she didn't like the one doctors made her. Okay. My last one is a question. So first, I'm going to go back and check this. I have capitals at the beginning, and I actually have 2 sentences. So I have an exclamation point to say that she lost both of her legs. How difficult. I have no idea what that would be like losing, a limb. So I get 2 points for that. So I have my 2 points for all these. And my final one is a question. My question is, do they make a living doing Olympics? I guess Paralympics. I don't know. Does that something that you make a living at? Because I know some people who compete, they make a living doing certain things. All right, there we go. I would score myself with a capital and an end mark, get my 2. I have a total of 10 out of 10. And I would write this on my scorecard for the front of my paper. Right here, as I flip through everything 18 million times. I would write for my science. I did watch the video, and I did 5 questions. So I got an 5. Oops. I got an A. And I got 5 for each, and my spelling is correct, so I get a total of 10.